Wow, guys, the symbols are adding up even more and even in more detailed sense after that thing with the spirit guides. That was just me driving from one place to another. That came in my mind as I said it because God was telling me. Now, this stuff is crazy and it's heavy, and it's crazy how it all actually ties together when I listen to it. So I figured I'd take 5 minutes. It was 6 minutes or 6:54, 6 minutes to 7. It's 7 o'clock now. And I put on a meditation that took about 7 minutes, and I got to the point where it started playing that little end music, and I was whatever, and I was concentrating on my breath. And during that time when I was concentrating on my breath, this exact meditation that I picked, and I'll save this one, and I'll tell you when you get to this level, because it's important that you wait till you get to the right level to do it, at least in this way, because God is showing me, the chosen one, how to figure it out for everybody, okay? This is for you. Whoever's listening, this is for you, okay? I know it's crazy. Okay, so all those things led me to spirit guides. Okay, the SP led me to where I would believe that I'm God. And from there, it also left me blueprints on how I want God to learn more about himself as the person he is in human form. So this is a detailed blueprint on once he finds the chosen one. Now, is this not crazy or not? Okay? Now, from meditation, everyone knows that you focus on breathing, okay? You focus on breathing. And the reason I told myself, God, to focus on breathing was because that got me one step closer to understanding where I started, which is the air, which came from where? The earth, which came from where? The sun, which came from where? Not just Earth didn't just come from the sun. Let me tell you again. Earth came from the sun and the energy of God and the moon and all the stars that created the map, that created all the galaxies, the first galaxies, before they had a mind strong enough to create the idea of a galaxy, and then more started popping up left and right, and the galaxy kept expanding. And that's why it keeps expanding, because more thoughts keep happening and making everything seem more possible, and more becomes possible as more become wondering. Does that make sense? Okay, so you return back to the breathing when your thought runs out. Thought runs out. Focus. Focus is important. Focus is very important. When you focus the energy of the sun, it does really crazy things. Like, the energy of the sun is focused in every way that we're using superpower stuff, like in magnetism, in lasers, in everything, in eating our food, and eating the animals that eat the grass, that eat the food that we eat. We end up using the power of the sun. It's focused power of the sun. So the word focus was another blueprint that I left for myself. So it's not going to do this for you, but it might, because God may have left this message for all of us. That's why it's obvious that you're supposed to focus and focus on your breathing when you meditate. And people think meditating is funny, because most people who think meditating is funny are not religious, because they tie together hand in hand, because God wrote that script in the blueprint to find him. You're going to think meditating is funny if you don't believe in spirituality. But then at the same time, if you believe, or like, no. You're going to think meditating is funny if you don't believe in spirituality. Yes. You're not going to think meditating is funny if you're religious but do feel spiritual. Okay. If you're religious and think meditating is weird, then you're religious and not spiritual, or not very spiritual, or you're not comfortable enough in your own skin to meditate and feel comfortable. There's all kinds of probability tweaks in that vibrational sense that I'm getting from God. And God is interpreting it through me as himself, because the word interpret is also God. I know this is crazy, but this is true. Okay. So between breathing, by breathing, linking breathing together back and forth with the way water flows. When you breathe in, it's cold air, hot and cold. Okay, this is also telling you why hot and cold was a reason for people to whatever. This is another reason to find out why male and female and positive and negative and all those things were things that really stuck out in Dan's head. So I don't know if those words even stick out in your head, but they might, because now that I'm God in Dan's mind, he's confused as to whether it's what only made him find it, me, the frequency, or if it's the thing that's supposed to help everybody. But me as God, I'm saying it the best way I can to interpret it for everyone to understand it. So there's some kind of symbols or syllables to the things that led to spiritual guides. So your symbols may be different syllables in that form up to spiritual guides. So if you heard those past teachings or lectures, whatever you want to call them, that I had, rewind to the one until I got to spiritual guides, and you'll hear sporting goods and all that kind of stuff. See, I all started from when I was a kid. Remember something that reoccurred to you when you were a kid, and then remember something that you didn't do anymore if you stopped doing it, or something that's still going with you that has something that matters from your beginning of time. All the things that have been with you longer in your life mean something. Your mom and dad, they mean something. And you'll get that all because the way that makes sense is you'll start telling your mom and dad that you're God once you believe you're God, and they're the first people that might believe you. And then once they actually would take the time to listen to you and believe you, that would be they'd be really close to finding it themselves. I know that sounds weird, but in the vibrational pattern, that would be like almost backwards from a family tree pattern. Like you go down in the family tree and then boom, you branch off from that and go into a spiritual tree. So in that vibrational pattern, that's why the parents would be easy to get closer to the real God, because their family member was the one who was the chosen one. So it's easier for people who are closer to the chosen one and people who get to know the chosen one personally as a person. And then that's why people who spoke to God spoke to Jesus felt so blessed by his presence, because he was so close to God that they could feel it in him. So they would tell everybody, oh, there's something going on with that guy. Wow, he's crazy. He's spiritual. And that was enough to scare other people. Well, some people thought he was spiritual, and other people thought that he was scary or just unbelievable, and they killed him for it. So people are going to start feeling my presence. Honestly, they will, and I know they do because I see the people around me on my everyday basis in the real, everyday human world. This is crazy stuff, but people feel my presence. It may not be like a power or a glow or whatever you want to imagine it to be in your mind, but you can also imagine it to be whatever in your mind, and it's that. And if it's something that makes it seem unbelievable, it's a negative vibration that you're picking up from some thought of not liking something about Dan. Maybe it's his hair, maybe it's something, but just start saying, I accept, I accept, I accept. It will start allowing it. And when you really do accept it, just saying I accept means nothing. Really accepting everything means something. And by listening to Dan, you're getting closer to Dan. By him finding his spirit guide, being the process of the elimination from his childhood all the way to here, through sexy girls, through special guests and music, through sporting goods, and him wanting to be a professional wrestler or a football player, from everything you can think of, he's always had guides, spiritual guides and spiritual symbols. That's what we all do, and we all have them, and you got to find your own, but I'm trying to tell you through him how we do it. So it's not fair that he found his, and he can't say, well, just go to Dick's Sporting Goods and you'll get it. Yeah. Go to wherever, but your spirit symbols and spirit guides will be all around you, and they'll make more sense to you than they would to even me, unless I got to know you and went around with you and I could find them for you. But I can't do that with each individual person unless they paid me for it to make some kind of illusionary worth to it. But people are going to hold on to that illusion of worth because now we're used to it. And now we need to know of a way to, how can we make it so that we, exchange with each other and make it feel like it's worthwhile? I say, just give it to each other. But until whatever, we're going to have to do the exchange of worth in our minds. Even in Dan's mind, I'm going to have to allow Dan to accept money. But at the same time, Dan's going to have to has free will. And I know Dan, and there's going to be times where he gets all this kind of money, and he's just like, well, I'm just going to give $1 million to the, supposedly called AIDS Foundation, but apparently people aren't believing in me enough yet to stop having AIDS, And apparently people aren't believing me enough to stop having herpes, and ain't believing in me enough to stop having HPV, and aren't believing in me enough to stop being angry, ain't believing me enough to stop being depressed, or stop being unaccepting of things. Because once you start believing in me enough, those things will become easier too. And each step and each element that you do in its own way will also help me find ways to start showing you ways to believe in me more. I know that was a real tongue tie, but I know it makes sense because God used my brain to do it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get through my day. It's 7:09. I'm not way behind like I was last week, and I keep talking for an hour into my day. I'm not doing that today, and I told God, give me the power to overcome you. Or not overcome you in a negative way, but in a positive way. In a way to make my day run fluidly. But he said, all right, well, I'm playing a joke on you, and I'm going to make it rain. so that you want to get done so fast. Well, here, I'll give you another reason to hurry. It's raining, so you get rained on. I mean, God does these kind of things to play tricks on you. And when you actually start getting in tune with your vibration, you start seeing what kind of tricks your vibrational version of God or your vibrational version of self, or even if you want to call it Jesus and you want to stay religious and hold on. Listen, here's the funny thing. You can hold on to your religious beliefs because those really exist. You can make up whatever holographic idea version of Jesus being God, or Jesus being whatever, or God being this floating guy in heaven and hell, because that's a story that has been created now, and it's going to be strong in many memories, and it's going to be going on and on for probably a million years if people keep talking about Jesus and God and whatever, and they're going to, because they're not going to listen to Dan right away. And they're not even going to listen to a million people that listen to Dan right away. They're not going to do it for a long time, probably, unless with internet, you never know how fast the sensation can travel. But Dan is worth listening to. I mean, if somehow the world could become enlightened in a year, he would love that. But only if enlightened means people are truly not harming each other and truly have no evil will. And when it comes to evil will, you have to realize that the only power God is afraid of is the power. The only thing that fear fears is fear itself. Do you want to know what that means? God is also the word fear. And what fear fears is God, because God is fear. Put that back to the word God in a, mathematical word form. Okay, fear is power. And God is ultimate power. Put it that way in word form. These are filling in the variables of this spiritual word symbol mathematical equation for you. So when it goes from that, power is power. God is ultimate power. The only thing God is afraid of is his higher power. The only thing God is afraid of is his higher power. And the only thing that fear is afraid of is fear itself, because any person themselves is only afraid of the thing that they think is the worst. The only thing me, Dan Alexander, is afraid of is attempting to save the world and having people kill me for it. That's the only thing I'm afraid of. I thought I was afraid of my kids dying before me, but that was another illusionary fear. Because if my kids die before me now, I'm going to live to be 300. I hope they live to be 350. But if they don't, I have to accept that. And I hope they love me enough to understand I love them unconditionally. But if they die, I would cry and cry in my human form, and it wouldn't be fake, because my feelings are still real. And I would cry because I love them so much. Even thinking about it makes me want to cry. I can't believe I said it. It used to scare me so much, but now it doesn't scare me anymore, because now I told my mom I got over the fear of always seeing my kids get hurt by picturing it as Halloween paint, and picturing them in Halloween costumes, and picturing them laughing while they're doing it, and saying, no, Dad, this is just you thinking too much. You know what I mean? And you can go through your own thoughts and your own fears and dress them up in your own mind and make them not scary anymore. And it would lead you further along your path to find your God, to find your piece of God that is really you. And you'll be like, wow, I just made up so much of this. And this is not, when I say made up, it was only because it came off the top of my head. But I just revealed so many ways for people to learn about their inner God through higher powers and through spirits and through everything that I just said. You could start by thinking about your past. You could do it in a logical way. You could think about your past. You could whatever. You could analyze your dreams, and in that kind of sense, in that kind of astral term, or that kind of imaginary realm, you can do it that way. If you want to go through your religion, just keep in your mind that your religion is also just another source to find the true God. You're also just following another idea. The true God is not the God of your religion, and I'm sorry. But you can keep that if you want to. Just like if you want to keep watching football, thinking football matters, thinking like your favorite team matters more than someone else's favorite team. Or keep thinking that, if you wear red, it looks better with blue. Or you look better than somebody else. Or that you're smarter than the guy next to you. Or that all those things don't matter. The only thing that matters is that you find a way to find the God inside your true self, so that we can become the most harmonious, peaceful world. And they needed somebody brave enough to say that without sounding stupid, because every human being up to this point would feel stupid if they walked around saying they were me. And I feel disgraced for humans to say that, but I accept that. And before God, got mad, Dan told me to calm down. Isn't that cool? That dude is awesome. Wow. Because God, get a little mad when I think about the fact that every time I've tried to tell you as a human being that I'm here, you're so weird that you kill the person that says they're God and wants to save you. What the hell is wrong with people? Why? Why would you want to kill somebody that tells you they're here to help you? Because you want to have free will, and you want to say, hey, I don't believe that you're God because it's not possible in my imagination. Well, guess what? Because in your imagination, you can't, someone else couldn't be God because you're God. So how can somebody else be you at the same time as everybody else around you is still you? Well, I'm explaining it to you so that you understand it, and you don't make it so crazy in your mind so that you harm somebody when they tell you they're trying to help you. So before you hurt any other person from now on, I want you to listen to these things and think about how everything ties together. And if you hurt somebody, you're hurting yourself, and it makes sense now. Okay? Stop hurting things. Thank you. I love you. Time to work. Let's go, God.